Ladies and gentlemen, this is an absolutely brilliant idea. President Trump wants to read the Ukraine transcript like on the radio or on a fireside chat type of FDR type of thing. President Trump. So CNN is like, oh yeah, please let Trump's fireside chat happen. Democrats think Trump says he wants to read the Ukraine transcript in a televised fireside chat. So Fox News, President Trump, he said he may read the transcript of his July 25th telephone conversation with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky aloud to Americans in the style of the famous fireside chats delivered by President Franklin Roosevelt during the 1930s and 1940s. This is over a phone call that is a good call. Trump said in an interview with the Washington Examiner, at some point I'm going to sit down, perhaps as a fireside chat on live television. I will read the transcript of the call because people need to hear it. When you read it, it's a straight call. Look, it's a perfect idea. It is a wonderful idea. This transcript is the most benign conversation. This is not, if you don't do this, you will not get this, number one. Number two, President Zelensky is on record, Time Magazine, CNN, numerous articles, numerous articles where he just stated on record, he was not pressured. There was no leverage imposed. So what are Democrats doing? I mean, here, let me just read you this. The president, well, it's very nice of you to say. I will say that we do a lot for Ukraine. We spend a lot of effort and a lot of time. This is actually the White House. This is the PDF of the unclassified, and they're not saying anything classified is an example of quid pro quo. They're saying, oh my God, the actual call. First of all, nobody cares. They're going to impeach the president. They're going to impeach him on this, regardless of whether he does the live television segment where he reads this innocuous, benign conversation. Zelensky was not pressured. Zelensky stated he wasn't pressured. That's all you need to know. If Zelensky was like, yeah, I felt a little bit of pressure, but I understand, that's a different story. Zelensky stated he wasn't pressured. So Democrats are now not only forcing the Ukraine to let go of a prosecutor, but also speaking for the Ukraine. Because when Biden was on video saying, you will not get this, bragging, saying, you will not get this unless you do what is asked of you, what I demand. And just so happens, Kenneth Vogel, John Solomon, Kenneth Vogel of the New York Times, John Solomon of The Hill, people have documented the fact that there are conflicts of interest. There are conflicts of interest with Biden. The thing Democrats assume is that they say, well, those conflicts of interest had nothing to do. Don't you know it was U.S. foreign policy to force the Ukraine to fire a prosecutor? So what? Isn't it interesting how U.S. foreign policy always happens to coincide with the personal interests of certain people in President Obama's administration? Isn't that interesting? So what? So what if it was U.S. foreign policy? So what if people thought that that particular prosecutor was corrupt? That doesn't mean that Biden didn't have his own interests at play. And that's what Trump was talking about. That's what people are talking about. The prosecutor that was let go was investigating the corporation funneling millions of dollars to Hunter Biden. That Kenneth Vogel of the New York Times, formerly of Politico, broke that story. John Solomon talked about that endlessly in The Hill. Okay, James Risen of the New York Times in 2015 documented the conflict of interest. And then he backtracked on the Intercept, said, "Well, we knew there was nothing there." It's like, what? Why did you even write about it in 2015? But here's a little part of it. Well, it's nice of you to say that. I will say that we do a lot for the Ukraine. We spend a lot of effort and a lot of time, much more than European countries are doing, and they should be helping you more than they are. Germany does almost nothing for you. All they do is talk, and I think it's something that you should really ask them about. When I was speaking to Angela Merkel, she talks Ukraine, but she doesn't do anything. So this is hilarious, okay? This is absolutely hilarious. And then this is the part where they're so petrified, they're clutching their pearls. They're saying, "Oh, he has to be impeached over this." I would like you to do us a favor, though, because our country has been through a lot, and Ukraine knows a lot about it. It doesn't say you will not get the money. You will not get the money unless you... he doesn't say that. All he says is, "I would like you to do us a favor, though, because our country has been through a lot, and Ukraine knows a lot about it. I would like you to find out what happened with this whole situation with Ukraine." They say CrowdStrike. I guess you have one of your wealthy people, the server. They say Ukraine has it. There are a lot of things that went on, the whole situation. I think you're surrounding yourself with some of the same people. I would like to have the Attorney General call you or your people, and I would like you to get to the bottom of it. As you know, yesterday, the whole nonsense ended with very poor performance by a man named Robert Mueller. An incompetent performance. But they say a lot of it started with Ukraine. Whatever you can do, it's very important that you do it if that's possible. My God. He literally says, "if that's possible." Then President Zelensky says, "Yes, it's very important for me and for everything that you just mentioned." Okay, so you really have to look into this. I just read you the part where they say it's the quid pro quo part. You really have to look into this. Like money, millions of dollars from Uranium One into the Clinton Foundation. You cannot make that correlation. The Clinton Foundation has a litany of individuals and corporations and billionaires who give money and then get favorable treatment, and you cannot make you can't connect the dots. 85 donors gave $156 million into the Clinton Foundation. All 85 met with Hillary Clinton. The rebuttal from liberals is, well, she met with more people. How? Who cares? What does that even mean? That's not even a rebuttal. So what if she met with more people? The whole point is that the 85 people gave $156 million into the Clinton Foundation because they couldn't stuff it in Bill Clinton's pocket. They couldn't make it rain in front of Bill and Hillary. So they went through the Clinton Foundation. This is not rocket science. These are the Cold Warriors who are going to save us from Russia. They have no concept of just how things work. It's like... I remember a long time ago, if you went to Las Vegas, and you could go ahead and give... you see a show, you give the person who is seating you at the show, give $20. They'll seat you closer towards the front, regardless of whatever ticket you got. Okay, it's just that's the way things work. So the Clinton Foundation is like an open, like a public money laundering and graft scheme, where UBS, Boeing, $10 billion in Haiti was raised through the umbrella of the Clinton Foundation. The people of Haiti saw only 3% of it, less than 3%. So that's the thing. I would like to. This is the part. Then he goes, "Good, because I hear you had a prosecutor who was very good, and he was shut down, and that's really unfair. A lot of people are talking about that. The way they shut your very good prosecutor down and had some very bad people involved. Mr. Giuliani is a highly respected man. He was the mayor of New York, a great mayor, and I would like him to call you. I will ask him to call you along with the Attorney General. Rudy very much knows what's happening. He's a very capable guy. If you could speak to him, that would be great. I mean, where's the hardcore leverage here? The former ambassador from the United States, the woman, was bad news. and the people she was dealing with in the Ukraine were bad news. So I just wanted to let you know that. The other thing, there's a lot of talk about Biden's son, that Biden's son stopped the prosecution, and a lot of people want to find out about that. So whatever you can do with the Attorney General would be great. Are you kidding? How is that leverage? How is that this? Biden went about bragging how he stopped the prosecution. So if you could look into that, it sounds horrible to me. And then he goes, I wanted to tell you about the prosecutor. Zelensky said, okay, so where is the statement, you will not get the money unless you do this for us? There is no statement like that. Now, if this were a call from Clinton to someone else, Democrats would be demanding that actual statement within the text. They would be demanding the dialogue to show an actual legitimate, like when Democrats demand that you believe their fantasy world, when they say, well, President Obama didn't know. President Obama tells media that he didn't know his Secretary of State had a private server for 4 years. You're expected to believe the nonsense, even though he emailed her under a pseudonym. And he exchanged endless emails with Clinton. And I wrote this in the Daily Caller. You can see below in the pinned comment, I added my author pages. President Obama knew that Clinton had an unencrypted server. There's an email, one of the campaign emails. Cheryl Mills says he knows that Clinton doesn't have a state.gov. We have to fix this. Cheryl Mills knew about the whole thing. She shouldn't even have been given attorney-client privilege. She was also involved with Platte River at Reddit Stone Tier when Stone Tier went to Reddit to ask for help deleting a VIP email. Literally, Reddit's a part of Clinton's, cybersecurity debacle. That's hilarious. But the point is, you are expected, if it's a Democratic controversy, you're expected to get a note saying, I did this for this purpose. I knew and I said something that wasn't true. Signed President Obama, signed Clinton. Loretta Lynch met with Bill Clinton to speak about golf, Brexit, and grandchildren. Okay, that is not true. That is not the reason they met. Whether they spoke about golf, Brexit, and grandchildren, still, that doesn't explain the reason that they met in a tarmac with no transcript, with nobody around, 2 days before Clinton was being interviewed by Peter Strzok. There's no, and Peter Strzok said, we will stop Trump. So the entire thing is, Democrats know they have the media, and they have millions upon millions of people who view Trump to be this horrible buffoon, this orange monster. And they can, the people who didn't vote for Trump, their contempt for him has increased exponentially. Everyone else, if you voted for Trump, if you don't really care, you don't care about this. So Trump got 63 million people. Okay. Millions of people, of course, didn't vote. Democrats are not going to get the votes they need just because they're impeaching Trump based on a conversation. I read you the most salacious parts of this conversation. It's complete nonsense. But what I'm trying to explain with the Clinton Foundation and the President Obama's and not knowing of the Clinton email server and Loretta Lynch meeting with Bill Clinton, what you have to understand is when it's Democrats, they demand complete and utter, they demand a note saying we are guilty, signed Democrat. And if you don't get that note, if you don't get that letter signed from them admitting full guilt, then you can't connect any dots. If it's Trump, him bringing up, he doesn't say you're not going to get the Ukraine eventually got the money. That's the thing. The Ukraine got the money. Zelensky stated that he wasn't leveraged, and there is nothing within this letter that says, if you do not do this, you will not get this. So he should read the letter. It's boring. The whole thing is boring. And the only parts that are the most salacious parts, this is whitehouse.gov. If you type in Trump, Ukraine, call, transcript, PDF on Google, you will get the transcript from the White House. This is a boring letter. A conversation. And they're going to impeach Trump. Think of this for a second. They're going to impeach Trump because of a conversation that they say hurts their chances in 2020. That's what this is all about. This is about 2020. The Mueller probe was about 2016. Democrats are in a world of hurt. Their entire lives are predicated upon whether or not they can win during an election season. That's all they care about. That's their version of an impeachable offense. That's their version of an impeachable offense. Whether or not Trump tried to interfere in the next election to hurt them. So they purchase a Steele dossier against Trump. They set up and frame and fabricate based on the biggest nonsense. The intelligence community is utilized against an incoming president. Never happened before. Never happened before. But that's okay to them. But God forbid there's a phone conversation that they look into that the president of the Ukraine said didn't affect him at all. He wasn't pressured. Give me your thoughts below. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right now. Clinton, wow, my God, 16 minutes in, Clinton's running. I'm the only person in media, in all of YouTube, in all of media. In my writing on the Huffington Post in 2017, I have Clinton 2020 is a reality. Get ready for 8 years of Trump. My writing in the Times of Israel in 2019. 50 plus, actually probably now over 60 segments on my playlist below regarding Clinton running. Clinton's running, people. And this is all about Hillary Clinton. This is all about Clinton 2020. Do you think they're going to go with Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders or Joe Biden? Okay, Joe Biden's losing money in his campaign. Warren and Bernie, you can add them up, and it won't even come close to what Clinton fundraised around this time period. For Democrats, it's about fundraising and money. You have to have the money, because if you don't have the money, you don't have a chance. They don't have a message. Green New Deal, the AFL-CIO doesn't want it. Abolish ICE, come on. They were never serious about any of those things. Medicare for all. You think that Clinton's gonna? You think that okay? Medicare for all. If it's feasible, let's say I'm wrong. Let's say the Mercatus study is wrong, or I looked at the Mercatus study. I think it's a noble idea. I wanted it before when I was on the left. Noble idea. I have a uncle in France, had 20 years ago, had open heart surgery. It was like $150. Yeah, we're not France though. We have 320 million people, and we have a foreign policy run by a Democrat-Republican type of Max Boot and Bill Kristol are voting for Clinton in 2020, and they voted for Clinton in 2016. That's the best reason to go from Bernie Sanders to Trump. But anyway, you can't have an overreaching foreign policy that's full of intervention, of an interventionist mentality, where you have endless quagmires and endless military conflict, and then say we want Medicare for all also. So the people who were like, oh, well, we'll just vote for Clinton, hopefully we'll get there, that makes no sense. They make no sense. But this is all about Clinton 2020. And the same people who told you to vote for Clinton 2016 will be the same people who tell you to vote for Clinton 2020. Those will also have been almost all the same people who said Trump worked with Russia, and almost all the same people who said Trump should be impeached because of a phone call. Okay, they're impeaching. This is beyond absurd. They're impeaching Trump because of a phone call, where the standard of proof that they demand, that they impart upon Trump is not the standard of proof that they would use for themselves. Do you think that Clinton, if this was a conversation that Clinton had, they would never be like, so what? Where is it? There's nothing in here. Come on. It's just, he needs to do this He needs to do this fireside chat. He needs to. It will be the best thing of all time. Get ready for Clinton 2020. And when that happens, the entire Democratic Party will be completely obliterated. She will lose to Trump. And, I mean, this election, you're going to wish you had 2016. I will be the only person. It's probably going to be the biggest political call of all time. I'm not going to, either one of the biggest in recent memory. I'm the only person who has said this in the Huffington Post in 2017, February. And I'm the only person who's kept saying it. And I saw this 10 miles away. She's running, everyone. Get ready. Give me your thoughts below. Get ready for the enjoyment, because, by the way, Clinton's going to run in 2024. Also, that's another thing you have to understand. Give me your thoughts below. And that's, and people say, like, oh, well, you said she'd be indicted. Number one, I never said she'd be in jail. Even if indicted, she would be in jail. They would never arrest Clinton, even if they indicted her. Number two, she's going to get indicted eventually after she loses the election. And number three, James Baker, the FBI, agreed with me. He's the top FBI legal counsel. So did Lisa Page. They both said Clinton should have been indicted. It was an actual cover-up. So people who say, oh, she wasn't indicted, that's nothing to do with me. That's a cover-up. Give me your thoughts below. Clinton's running again. Clinton's running in 2020. Why do you think I'm wearing this wonderful shirt? I'm voting for President Trump. But give me your thoughts below. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right now.